So this newspaper came out and it says Golden State is an average basketball team and they've been for nearly a decade. That may sound like blasphemy, but it's true. Since the Warriors' run of 5 straight trips to the NBA Finals ended in 2019, there are only 23 games over 500, have only won more than 48 games once in a season. And the article says, well, hey, many will say, but they won a title in the last 7 years. Well, so did Toronto and so did the Lakers. They've been average both before and after those titles. Sometimes random teams win championships. If you ask Draymond and Steph Curry, they both have told you they should have not won the title in 2022. But looking at the last 7 years, not including 2022, it's been much worse. 2020, last in the West. Worst team in the league. 2021, ninth in the West. 2022, the Steph Curry carry job, third in the West. 2023, sixth in the West. 2024, 10th in the West. 2025, seventh in the West. 2026, currently 10th seed in the Western Conference. Many remember the Warriors as a juggernaut that dominated the league for nearly a decade. But the reality is that team is long gone, and all that remains is a team clinging onto the relevance of the past. Okay, so the article's done now. That was the article. And I absolutely agree with this article. Because and it's not Steph Curry. Steph Curry is still, the chef is still in the kitchen cooking at a Michelin star rate. He is still one of the best players in the league. The problem is Joe Lacob for putting Dunleavy and his son in charge of that type of stuff. Another problem was Bob Myers. And everyone loves to give Bob Myers all the credit in the world for our success, even though he did not draft Steph Curry, did not draft Klay Thompson. Jerry West is the one who kept that team together. Jerry West was a big part of drafting free agent or signing free agents, and he was a huge part. He was the reason Iguodala came to town. He was the reason Kevin Durant came to town. Now let's just look at a few of the mistakes this team has made, because this team could easily have won 2 to 3 championships since 2019. But let's just look at some of the mistakes they've made. You can argue, and everyone blames Draymond for KD going out of town. I don't blame him, but Bob Myers and Steve Kerr being drunk at the parade and saying, I know he wants a long contract, but he hasn't been here long enough, joking. You know what they say, but behind all jokes is a little bit of truth. With that being said, okay, so let's look at some of the mistakes. KD leaves, you're last in the West. Well, hey, you got the second pick in the draft and one of the most star-studded drafts. I blame Steve Kerr for not getting Anthony Edwards. Let's get that right out of the way, because he said even if we had the first pick in the draft, we wouldn't draft Anthony Edwards. Well, hey, we didn't have the first pick in the draft, but guess what? Minnesota was willing to swap if you swapped again next year, and it wouldn't have cost a single draft pick. So you missed out on Edwards. Hey, this is a top-heavy draft. There's Tyrese Maxey, there is LaMelo Ball, and there is Tyrese Halliburton. You can't go wrong with any of those three players. All young stars. You can argue LaMelo Ball is one of the most famous basketball players on the planet. He was famous before basketball. He was the Kim Kardashian of the Ball family, let's be for real. And he dropped 10 threes the other night. We went James Wiseman, a guy who played 4 games in college, a team that always goes guards. The one time they go center, it's a guy who played 4 years in college. Absolute miss. He's out the league. He's rapping now. All right, fine. You missed. Everybody misses once, I guess. That was the biggest bust. And people like to say Greg Oden. Greg Oden was phenomenal when he played. He just got injured. You missed. Okay, well then you end up going 9th in the West. And you have the 7th pick in the draft and the 14th pick in the draft. Steve Kerr wants Franz Wagner. So what do? You go Jonathan Kuminga, who is a decent player but never fit Golden State Warriors system. Franz Wagner was the perfect fit. Okay, hey, you missed again. But you have the 14th pick in the draft. You go Moses Moody. Is Moses Moody awful? No, he's not. He's an okay player. But the problem is after Moses Moody, you know who gets drafted? Şengün. Şengün can drop 30 to 40 a night. Okay, 40 on a great night, but still, he is a much better player than Moses Moody, who's only dropped 30 once in his career. Alrighty. Well, Jordan Poole's still in town. You still have Steph. Oh wait, we have Ryan Rollins, who was drafted by Golden State. He missed the year with an injury. Hey, yeah, I know what. Let's trade Ryan Rollins. We give everyone a chance. We give Pods a million chances. We give these Pat Spencer guys a million chances. But Ryan Rollins, you were injured for a year, shipped him out of town, shipped Jordan Poole out of town. Patrick Baldwin, fine, he's not in the league anymore, and a first round pick for aged Chris Paul. And Chris Paul was so bad you had to cut him. So you're telling me you gave up a 15-point scorer, you gave up Jordan Poole, a first-round pick for Chris Paul at that age. What the hell is wrong with Mike Dunleavy? All right, fine. You missed. You just missed. Danny Ainge wants to move on from Lauri Markkanen. And Danny Ainge is a known haggler, but this time Lauri's not on a max contract. All it's going to take is Moody, Pods, and a first-round pick. And guess what you say? Pods is untouchable. A guy who's never dropped 30, who's a liability on defense, is untouchable. Just look at this roster. Steph Curry has 2 to 3 good years left, and what did you do? G League talent. This roster from top to bottom could not beat, without Steph Curry, could not beat the Santa Cruz Warriors. And I like Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler, you gave him $54 million a year. He's getting paid more than almost every superstar in the league. He's getting paid more than LeBron. He's getting paid more than SGA, Anthony Edwards. I mean, come on. This guy is not a real deal second option. You name second options in the league, and he's not one of them. Now, you're in big trouble. You are in big trouble because Draymond is going to get somewhere between 21 to 24 million because he's going to opt into his contract. Jimmy Butler next year is going to get 54 million. And we'll just trade him. Do you think there's a team in the league that says, we want Draymond and Jimmy Butler. We want a player way past his prime at 24 million. Oh, we want Jimmy Butler pushing 40 off of the knee injury for a year. Good luck. Good luck.